Now, now, what husbands, we talked about what wives wish their husbands would figure out. What husbands now wish their wives would figure out. What do men, Madre, what do men wish that their wives would figure out when it comes to sexual intimacy? What are the husband's wishes when it comes to sexual relationship? Men are wired more like microwaves. When it comes to sex, men are wired like microwaves, and women are more like crock pots. Check the biology. I have done my research. Men are wired like microwaves, ready to go fast. Let's get it on. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Women are wired like crock pots. Takes a while. Guys are like lights, or like a light switch. And women are like a mercury light. Takes a while to warm up. Come on. Get bright. And it takes some time for it to warm up a little bit. Guys, listen to me, guys. Guys are visually stimulated. You know, my wife used to tell me, until I finally just got so shamed. I don't know. I'm the only one guilty of this. And no other man in here has ever done this. I'm with my wife, and I just love her to death. We walking, and here comes somebody. And hey, I'm talking to her, and we engaged. And I'm trying to steal a glance. She got to the point she just told me, go on and look, man. You're going to break your dumb neck. Priest Lynch? Now I don't even look. I just keep on going. If I don't catch it coming at me, if that ain't good enough, I can't turn and look. Hallelujah, Reverend. Can I get it? I'm the only one, all you little holy roadies in here. And all of you having failing marriages, and that bothers me. I'm trying to help you here tonight. Guys are visually stimulated, and women are emotionally stimulated. I don't know why God created us each that way, but that's what he did. God did this. Can I get a witness? And if you understand how your guy is wired and how your woman is wired, it makes for getting along better, because this is how God made them. God wired the man and God wired the woman. Can I get a witness? I got one guy in here, I ain't going to call his name, but he doesn't believe that monogamy was ever God's desire and design, because you see, we are a higher animal, and the lower animal don't practice polygamy or monogamy, and that all of us men are polygamous by nature, by design, that we can't help ourselves. And I agree with that if the aspect of being born again did not come into play. If you are not born again, then you act like your nature. And women used to go around, and women would excuse their husbands for any behavior by using the word dog. Because you heard your mama say it, you heard your grandmama say it, and even when you got married, they would tell you, honey, that he might stray, because a man ain't nothing like a dog, but he'll come back home. And a lot of y'all married men knowing that about him. But once a man is born again and a woman is born again, that nature is suppressed by a second nature. You might have the nature of a dog, but you don't act on it. You suppress that nature and take a new nature. You be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You don't conform, but you are transformed. Romans 12. Boy, if you ain't preaching in here today. Let me tell you some things your husband would enjoy in your physical relationship. First of all, he wants creativity. That's what your husband wants. He wants some creativity. He wants you to light some candles, and he wants you to put some planning into creating a special moment. He wants you to invite him sometime for lunch at the house. You ain't got to go out. You ain't got to go to Fridays. Just invite him to lunch at the house. Be creative and have some fun. Make some fun. Make it an experience rather than a duty. Variety adds to the spice of your marriage and to the joy of your husband. Ladies, you put so much planning and so much effort in attending some of the hobbies and some of them girlfriend stuff. Listen to me. Don't let Oprah get you killed, because Oprah ain't got no husband. You better stop talking girlfriend, because Oprah can't get a man. I bet you'll never forget this Valentine's Day sermon. Can I get a witness? That's the first thing he wants. He wants creativity. The second thing your husband wants, Brother Middleton, that he wants you to tell your wife wants to know, the second thing your husband is concerned with the frequency. I'm getting ready to come down the street now. The frequency, wake up. The frequency of the sexual relationship. That's what's on your husband's mind. And you little chicken husbands, you so glad that you're here today and I'm doing your work for you. You don't know what to do. Bunch of chickens. I'm looking at your faces and I know you ain't nothing but a bunch of chump chicken. Floyd just said, help me, man, help me. Is the marital act rally on the menu, or is there regularity in this celebration? Huh? And that's what sex is in a marriage. It's a celebration. Can I get a witness? It is something that both husband and wife look forward to and anticipate. There are some exceptions to this. Now, the 1 Corinthians 7, well, if you're sick, and if you want to pray and fast and stuff like that, then you take a little time. But you don't stay away from each other too long, because the Bible says, lest the devil come in and tempt you for your lack of self-control. The less you do it, the more the devil will enter into that house, and he will tempt you, and before you know it, you'll be outside your marriage having illicit affairs with somebody else and having liaisons. Preach, Lance. Over at the hospital where I'm on the board, the doctor gave an older couple a terrible report concerning the health. Sit down, Jennings. Concerning the health of the husband. Gave a terrible report concerning the health of the husband. And what the doctor did, the doctor requested to speak privately to the wife. And when the door was shut, the doctor said, I got some bad news. I think your husband is probably going to die within the week. He doesn't have long to live. What he said, the doctor said, the good news is this. If you cook him 3 meals a day, and if you bring him breakfast in bed, if you pamper him, if you make love to him as much as you did the first year of your marriage, I think that man might live for a year or two. So she went out of the waiting room, and the husband said, "What did the doctor say?" She said, "You're going to die." You're going to die. You need to discuss these frequency issues as a couple. Openly agree on both his needs and her needs. But both need to be flexible and not legalistic. Another doctor shared this illustration, and I'm almost through, that may help women understand a man's sex drive. This may help women understand a man's sex drive. Suppose there was a stool with a glass of water on it, and the husband was next to the stool, where he could easily reach the water, and the wife is next to the husband, but she is immobilized and can't quite reach the water. So the wife turns to her husband and says, "Would you please pour me out a glass of water? I'm getting thirsty." And the husband responds by saying, "You know, I don't really feel like it. I'm not just in the mood. Maybe in a couple of hours I'll give you some." So the wife says, "Well, I'm really thirsty now." And the husband says, "Well, you know, it's been an awful long day, and I'm a little too tired to get you a glass of water right now." Well, the next day came, and the wife, having gone without water, says again, "Will you please give me a glass of water now?" And the husband says, "Why do you always have to ask for water? I'll give you a glass when I'm in the mood." Oh, Lord have mercy. The wife can feel her temperature rising, and she ain't happy. She's thirsty. And the only person who can give her water is her husband. And so she begins to demand it. And the husband glares at his wife and says, "You're not going to get any water with an attitude like that." The next day, the husband finally says, "Okay, here's your water, but drink it fast and don't be telling me you're going to be thirsty again tomorrow." Sound familiar? And the wife drinks, but she does so with bitterness and with frustration. The New Testament talks about frequency of intimacy in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Paul says that the woman's body ain't hers, and the man's body is not his. Your body belongs to him, and her body belongs to you. And you don't have no business turning him or her down for any kind of "I ain't in the mood" reason.
That's the truth, Doc. Hello. Yes, sir.
Do not defraud or deprive each other except by mutual consent for a time, that you may devote yourselves to prayer and fasting. Because if you don't do it that way, Satan will come in, and the next thing you'll be sitting in Reverend Lynch's office talking about he is gone with Sadie. And he is gone and she is gone with Wild Bill. It says that there are some times when you won't be together as regularly, but it doesn't go on for a long, long time. As Paul is quick to put, Satan will tempt you, y'all. And he says we don't have a whole lot of self-control, so use that time for prayer.
That's it.
Creativity, frequency, and finally, as I get ready to close, what husbands wish their wives would figure out. Creativity and frequency, and finally, your husband needs affirmation. He needs it because men are egomaniacs. We have heck of egos. And we have to be fed. Our egos have to be fed. And we would want our wives to be the main feeders. You need to tell him how good he looks. You need to tell him how handsome he is. I never will forget Marion Spencer, one of my best friends, and she and her husband are models of marriage. Been married some 70 years. And one day she came into a meeting, and I was sitting there. I said, well, where's Brother Don? What are you doing here? She said, Reverend Blanche, I got to tell you. She whispered over to me. She said, he got up this morning, and when he got out of the shower and started putting on his clothes, and I'm looking at him, and when that man got them clothes on and put that tie on, and he looked at himself in the mirror, and I looked at him, I said, oh, no. You look too good. Ain't no way in the world I'm going to let you out of this house today looking like that. Did you know that she kept him home? And she came to the meeting in his place. How many of y'all, how long you been married? Don't you want, if you live long enough to say you got 70 years in? It's that kind of talk that makes the years go by and go by pleasantly. One time, one man, 70 some odd years, by affirming him, you look good. You look good. The male ego needs strokes. We need validation. Wives need to talk about how good your husband is. At times, you need to take the initiative, wife, when it comes to your physical relationship, as he will find that quite affirming. Don't always have to have him making the first hit. You hit. Listen, as we go back to the Bible, listen to the affirmation given by the wife to her husband in Song of Solomon, chapter 5.
Blooded, radiant. He's one in a million. There's no one quite like him. My golden one, pure and untarnished, with raven black curls tumbling across his shoulders. His eyes are like doves, soft and bright. His face is rugged. His beard smells like sage. His voice, his words, warm and reassuring. Fine muscles ripple beneath his skin. That's what I say too. His torso is the work of a sculptor, hard and smooth as ivory. He stands tall like a cedar, strong and deep-rooted. His words are kisses, his kisses words. Everything about him delights me, thrills me through and through. That's my lover. That's my man.
Hey, that's my man. Wow. Do you think that her words made him feel special, loved, and affirmed? I'm sure that they did. Wives, if you learn to make your man the apple of your eye and the number one dude, the guy who's got it going on, quit going around here acting a fool over Denzel and all them other. Denzel got a wife. Let me conclude by saying this. Intimate friends unselfishly serving one another. That's what husbands and wives are. You must remember this. If I can encapsulate into one phrase what I want to say to all married couples, it would simply be this. Strive to be intimate friends who unselfishly serve one another. I ain't going to take time to read it, but Proverbs 5, write down Proverbs 5. I preached today from Solomon 4 and 5, and now if you look at Proverbs 5, it tells you about men drinking water from other cisterns. Don't drink water from other springs. You got enough water in your spring. If you read that 5th chapter of Proverbs, it will make you stay out of other streams and tributaries that run in the street. And when you're in the street, you will love what your well is putting out so much at home that you won't be tempted to drink water from some other stream. That's what Proverbs 5 is saying. Ann Landers, as I close, God bless her. She did so much good and advice. She received a letter that is good for me to wrap up on. It says, Dear Ann, last weekend we celebrated my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. She said this morning they left on a long-awaited trip to Hawaii. They were as excited as if it were their honeymoon. The letter went on to say, you see, when my parents married, they had only enough money for a 3-day trip, 50 miles from home. And they made a pact that each time they made love, they would put $1 in a special metal box. And they would save it for a honeymoon in Hawaii for their 50th wedding anniversary. Said Dad was a policeman and Mom was a school teacher. And raising 5 children was a challenge, and sometimes money was short. But no matter what emergency came up, Dad would not let Mom take any money out of that Hawaii account. And my parents were always very much in love. I can remember Dad coming home and telling Mom, I have $1 in my pocket. And she would say to Dad and smile at him and say, I know just how to spend it. Oh, I love it. And when each of the children married, listen to this beautiful thing. When each of the children married, each of us, all 5 of us got married. Mom and Dad gave each of us a small metal box and told us their secret, which we found inspiring. Mom and Dad never told us how much money they managed to save, but it must have been considerable, because when they cashed in those CDs, they had enough for airfare to Hawaii, plus hotel accommodations for 10 days, and plenty of spending money. And before they boarded the plane, Dad winked at us and said, tonight we're starting an account for Cancun.